Do you ever miss or grieve your old life, as in pre-awakened life? I'm grateful for the journey I'm on, but I often find myself reminiscing on the simpler days when I was carefree and living in ignorant bliss. That's normal, right? So to answer the question initially, do I grieve sometimes the older days or my old life? No, I don't. I don't at all. And the reason that I say that is not because my life after awakening became so much better to a point where there was no more pain or no more suffering or no more challenges or anything like that. That's actually not what happened at all. I've had many challenges and many issues occur after my awakening. So as soon as you get on your soul path, it doesn't mean that you're not going to face challenges. But the reason that I say I don't really grieve for my old life is because when I look back, I was so blocked. I was so repressed. I was so traumatized. I had so much weight of unhealed trauma on top of me that I wasn't really living. I can't even call it living. It felt more like I was in a zombie state, or that I was half alive. And so when you live like that, life is just so heavy. It's so monotonous. There's not a lot of joy. So when I look at that past version of me, I don't really grieve. The only thing I grieve about that past version of me is I look back and I just feel sad for her, right? Like that old version of me, that person that was really unhealed. And when you walk the earth as an unhealed, unawakened person, you end up hurting yourself, but you end up hurting others also. It's kind of you end up creating this collective wounding around you too, because you're operating from a wounded, unawakened state. And that tends to create more pain around you and within you also. So I do grieve, not grieve in the sense that I miss that person, but grieve in the sense that I feel sad for that earlier version of me. But everything had its place. I don't regret anything. My path is kind of unfolded as it was supposed to. Now, what I do want to also address in this question is that it's normal for people to grieve, okay? And a lot of times, I want to get into a little bit of a little nugget on this question. A lot of times when people ask me this question, like when they start reminiscing on the older version of themselves, and they start thinking to themselves, I was much better off that older version because at least I was in my ignorant bliss and I was doing my life, and none of these spiritual issues were coming up. My life was a little bit more, it was simple in that sense. That may be true, but a lot of times when people start to reminisce about a past version of themselves, it's because they're in a particular state in their current present moment that's uncomfortable, okay? So no one would ever ask me this question if they're in the place of a lot of joy and a lot of happiness, right? Like nobody would submit this question if they're in a lot of joy and in a lot of happiness, because if you're filled with bliss and joy and ecstasy, you're not reminiscing on a past version of you, right? You start to reminisce on a past version of you if your present moment is uncomfortable in some way. And so I want to address that part of the question because I think it's worth it, right? When you start to reminisce on an older version of you, on thinking that life used to be more simple when you were unawakened, then just take a nice deep breath and start to explore what you're going through right now. Maybe you're going through a phase that's difficult because there's trauma coming up or there are issues coming up, or maybe for a lot of us, this happened to me for a while. When I started to go down the spiritual path, my sensitivity started to get more and more acute. I was already super sensitive before my awakening, but then afterwards, I became exponentially more sensitive, and it was sometimes hard to deal with the new level of sensitivity that I had in me. So I was going through some of these difficult phases and some of these challenges, and that may be happening to the person that submitted this question and to anyone who finds themselves reminiscing on their pre-awakened self, their pre-awakened personality. Just kind of assess where you are right now. What chances are, if you're reminiscing on in the past, you're uncomfortable in your present moment. So ask yourself, why am I uncomfortable? What's going on with me? What am I thinking about? What am I feeling about? What is there trauma? Are there difficult emotions coming up that I don't like to deal with? And go into those emotions. Okay. So surrender to those emotions. Go into those states. All right. You have to remember that your way to joy and more lightheartedness is through whatever pain you're going through. It's always always through. It's not around. You can't get your way around healing. You have to go right through it, okay? So take a nice deep breath, and you can even start to coach yourself in the present moment. So you can say things like, although it's uncomfortable where I am right now, I know that I have to get through this. I know that I'm going to get through this. I know that I'm healing. I know that this too shall pass, and things are going to get better. You see, start to kind of coach yourself to allow yourself to just be in self-acceptance where you are in the present moment. And you'll notice that if you start to do this, the reminiscing on the past will start to dissipate, because you notice that your power is in the present moment. And if you move through that discomfort, move through it. And usually people say, well, how do I move through uncomfortable situations or uncomfortable emotions? You go right through them. You feel them, you accept them, you sit with them, you acknowledge them. You don't run away. You don't try to go around. You go right through, okay? And what's going to happen is, as you do this, your energy is going to lighten up, and you're going to start to feel more joy, and then pretty soon the reminiscing is going to disappear. Remember, no matter what you were going through before, and no matter what you're going through now, life is always better after your awakening, because you're on your soul path now, whereas before you may have been lost. So even if you face challenges and difficulties right now in your awakened state, always remember that at least you're alive, and at least you're on your soul path, and at least you can feel more in this awakened state than you did before. And that is always better, even if it's temporarily uncomfortable to get through some things. I hope this helps.